How's it going, everybody? So let's continue. He that leadeth from the captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. Um, Talking about during the Great Tribulation, or is this also talking about when we're living in the book of Revelation in real time before the Great Tribulation? When there's war and famine, does that mean don't go out and shoot and kill anybody? Um, or is it just talking about kind of metaphorically, abstractly during the Great Tribulation? Very difficult for me to decipher on that. Let God be true and every man a liar. Your guess is as good as mine. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the sea. It sounds like it's Great Tribulation time, right? I didn't, I mean, that's what this whole chapter is about. So I think it's just metaphoric, abstract speech. And I beheld another beast coming out of the earth. This will be the false prophet. And he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. And he exerciseth all the power of the first beast before him, and causeth the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, which had the deadly wound, but was healed. So the Antichrist, again, will have seemingly returned from the dead, just like the real Christ, Jesus, did return from the dead. And it'll be a body double trick, a twin, a clone, a body double. That's what the twins during the year 2001 in the month of September, on the day between the 10th and the 12th, that's what that ritual was all about. I wasn't there. I'm not really sure what happened that day, other than they did come down. Other than that, we've seen a lot of trickery. Um, let's go to the hanged man. So when you go to the hanged man, you see that imagery of that leg, the one leg out, the other leg sort of crossed underneath it. 9/11, the hanged man, and you see it's the same, and they're telling you this guy was falling in the imagery. That's what they give you. So, what was everything? We just know they came down. Okay. And if you weren't there, there's always somebody that'll tell you they were or they knew somebody. That's great. That's so special. I don't know what that all was. I just know the twins came down, and what rose up was One World Trade Tower. Or Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers, followed by Lord of the Rings, Return of the King. Or the Dark Knight, representing the darkened right eye, per Zechariah 11:17, followed by the Dark Knight rises. And he literally climbed up out of a pit in the movie. So, what is this world we're living in? Well, it's all about ready to come to a stop, isn't it? And he exercised all the power of the first beast before him, and causeth the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. And he doeth great wonders, so that he make fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. And he deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles. And he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth, that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by the sword and did live. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and caused that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. We remember how the voice followed the apprentice. Because I remember making the Facebook post. That was one of my first videos ever when I began all of this in 2020. Not the Bible study channel, but just started making videos, which later turned to Zoom. And yeah. So yeah, it was a video I did. It's on my playlist at Trey Stokes Archives. How the ghost in the machine. I think it's the second video, and it gets into the Alan Parsons Project song, The Voice, and how it's going to start killing people from the album I, Robot. And I caught it from looking at my Facebook memories. I said, how many commercials? There must be like 10,000 commercials for The Voice watching tonight's Apprentice, because I didn't miss an Apprentice episode. I didn't know anything about anything. I was just entertained. I didn't know who he was. I was just entertained. And it dawned on me, the voice following the apprentice is the image that speaks following the beast out of the sea, whose deadly wound will have seemingly be healed. Do we need to look that up? TV show The Voice followed The Apprentice. Well, it says they were separate shows. Yeah, we know that, but they followed each other. One came on, then the other came on. Maybe it's in here. The Apprentice specifically, The Voice premiered. It quickly became NBC's flagship reality competition, even taking over the high profile The Apprentice. So it's not really, it's going to mess with us about it. What TV show followed The Apprentice? And they're telling you mock shows that mimicked afterwards. So the AI is just not going to help us out. But yeah, The Voice came on. The Voice followed The Apprentice on NBC. The Voice followed The Apprentice on NBC. What TV show came on after The Apprentice? It's still not going to answer the question. Oh well. But hopefully y'all remember all that. And we could research it, but ain't nobody got time for that. So I believe this is Satan bouncing back and forth into, while demons are keeping everything going, that Satan is moving also, because a body can contain more than one demon. And we know the Antichrist is possessed by Satan. He is man, Heisman Trophy. Heisman is spelled he is man. Who is man? Satan is now man. He's possessing the body through the ritual, which would culminate, we believe, on the third day after they staged their right eye wound event. And right now, of course, we're pretty high on March 9th. It all began when Washington, D.C. was 86,000 days old on New Year's Eve. And I was like, well, it's a palindrome on 86068, because somebody had floated me that it was 86,000 days old, and it was. But so, got a few videos already up about this date, and it has him rising on the third day on 3/11, which is opposite 9/11 on a circular calendar, and is the anniversary of 2020 when it was declared a global illness. So it's very high right now. 8675309 song 86. It begins with and ends with 309. So yeah, it's popping pretty good for us right now. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, and free and bond, to receive a mark on their right hand or their foreheads. And of course, this mark, as soon as they're possessed, it'll pop up. Remember, Reagan had all the marks pop up all over her in The Exorcist, all over her face, so on and so forth. And that no man might buy or sell. This is abstract figurative speech. Jesus said, you that be in Judea, flee, run. Don't even go inside your house to grab anything. If it was about food and shelter and food and water and buying and selling food, Jesus would have said, go inside your house, hunker down, eat your food sparingly. No, people are going to become possessed. So the buying and selling is just abstract figurative speech, like a lot is in the book of Revelation. So unless you've got the mark, you can't buy or sell. No man might buy or sell save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that have understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 600 which is 666, which we've shown you many times that when you key in SIX, 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 you do get Donald John Drumpf. And Trump was the family surname of Donald. And then you key it in, yes, Donald Trump's family surname was originally Trump. So it's a perfect match. So that's all you need. But we also get Jesus saying that the Antichrist would be here in his own name. I come in my Father's name as the Christ, right? I come in my Father's name and you receive me not. And who is he? He's Christ. Then he goes on to say, if another what? Another Christ, this time Antichristos, Antichrist, shall come in his own name, him you will receive. And of course, the Antichrist in the book of Daniel was called the horn, and a trump is a horn, and a horn is a trump. So he's literally here in his own name. And we've already been over many times how Trump Tower has 5 multiple addresses, 721 through 725 Fifth Avenue. I think we just showed you that in a previous video. And It perfectly matches Daniel 7:21 through Daniel 7:25, where 7:21 says the horn shall make war with the saints, and it ends with, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High. And so, yeah, they're not trying to hide anything. We're all just waiting. We're all just waiting. For them to stage that right eye wound event. All right, let's continue on in Philippians. Both studies, by the way, verses 10 through 18. That's interesting. Just kind of lined up like that. For I want you to understand what really matters so that you may live pure and blameless lives until the day of Christ's return. May you always be filled with the fruit of your salvation, the righteous character produced in your life by Jesus Christ. For this will bring much glory and praise to God. And I want you to know, my dear brothers and sisters, that everything that has happened to me here has helped to spread the good news. For everyone here, including the whole palace guard, knows that I am in chains because of Christ. So he was jailed because he was telling the truth. And because of my imprisonment, most of the believers here have gained confidence and boldly speak God's message without fear. It's true that some are preaching out of jealousy and rivalry, but others preach about Christ with pure motives. They preach because they love me, for they know I have been appointed to defend the good news. Those others do not have pure motives as they preach about Christ. They preach with selfish ambition, not sincerely intending to make my chains more painful to me. But that doesn't matter. Whether their motives are false or genuine, the message about Christ is being preached. Either way, so I rejoice and will continue to rejoice. In the King James, we can read the last two just for poetic sake. But everything looked good there with the corrupted text. But it's much easier to understand. Easier on the ear, easier on the brain. So, but the other kind of love, knowing that I am set for the defense of the gospel, what then, notwithstanding, every way, whether in pretense or in truth, Christ is preached, and I therein do rejoice, yea, and I will rejoice. I'm glad you're here. I love you very much. Ask questions anytime. That's what I'm here for.